You don't need another budgeting system that expects you to change your whole personality. You need one that fits your real life and helps you feel in control and not overwhelmed. Let's talk about it. Hey goalies, welcome back to the channel where we keep it real about all things money, confidence, and financial success. If this is your first time here, I'm Nia, the Coins Confidant, and I'm all about helping you build the confidence and clarity to crush your money goals. The first thing that I need you to do is hit that like and subscribe button. Let YouTube know that you want to hear the things that I'm talking about so they can show other people's. Don't block their blessings. You got to share. Sharing is caring, okay? So let's talk about budgeting, but not the kind that makes you feel like you're like in a financial timeout. We're going to break this down in 7 steps. Yes, 7 steps. Because real transformation, it's not a quick fix. It's a process. And if you spent years developing money habits that aren't working for you now, it's going to take more than a weekend spreadsheet to just turn it around. We're not going on a financial diet. You're building the life that you actually want. And that takes a different approach. So let's get into it. So this video is built on my power method. It's a framework I created to help you shift your mindset, understand your habits, and create financial clarity without shame. So if you're tired of budgeting advice that really doesn't fit your life, just keep watching. So step 1 is basically proclaiming what's going on right now. You have to openly admit, confront. You have to. That's a very important step of the process, because if you just mull over what you're currently doing and mull over what current state and relationship you have with money, it's going to make it very hard for you to create a sustainable. You see what I'm saying? That's that key word right there. Sustainable. We're not looking for something that's going to have us up this year. We're feeling great. And now next year, we're a complete mess and our finances are in shambles. That's not the lifestyle we want. We don't want that stress for ourselves. I personally don't. And I don't want that for you either. So you have to get down into it and have these questions and these vulnerable conversations with yourself, which is going to take you starting to be a little bit more aware of how you use money just by asking yourself these questions. So I want you to ask yourself, what have you learned about money so far? Good or bad? So we're not just focusing on the bad. What have you learned? What conversations have you heard? What type of phrases and sayings have shifted and shaped the way you use money? Like if you're like me, used to hear money is the root of all evil. We heard these type of sayings all the time growing up and don't realize how much they might have influenced how we use money, how we see money, how we see even looking to acquire more money. Okay. Now, how has those things shaped how you use money? If you've made many mistakes, like I want to let you know you're not broken, you're human. But this is the moment where you're not here to blame anybody. It's time to start reflecting. It's time to start looking back just to see what's there so that we can acknowledge it. But you can't acknowledge what you don't know is there, as well as you can't fix what you don't know is there. So how can I fix it if I never really knew what it was? I'll let you ponder that for a moment. So think about it in the terms of this. What could I have done differently? What patterns do I see that keep showing up? Where have I actually made progress? So I ask that question because that's a very powerful step, because it forces you to zoom out. It's not just about what's going wrong. It's about identifying what's going right also, so we can duplicate that and continue to do it. Identifying your strengths. So you've made some good decisions. Lean into those while you rebuild the rest. Okay? Now, step 2. Now we're going to start to own our money story. What type of mistakes have we made? And we want to accept those mistakes. We want to accept those mistakes in the sense that everybody makes mistakes. And if we didn't make those mistakes, then we would be able to learn from them. Perspectives. It's all about perspectives. So we want to start identifying what money mistakes got us to the point where we are. What were the pivotal moments in our journey that might have shifted or shaped the way that we currently are in with our, like maybe we have a lot of high debt, maybe we had a layoff, or maybe we made a bad financial decision that, what happened that got us to where we are now that we want to fix. It's very important to look at that and own it. And you want to own it because it's just a part of your journey. You still have the pen to continue to write your money story. Your money story is not over because you're right here watching this video. And so once you move past that, now you have to get to the point where you start to welcome financial clarity. So now that you've looked at your past, you're starting to pay attention to how you move with money. You made some mistakes, but you're here to correct them. You're here to build new good money habits. Okay, now that we've done that, we have to face where we are right now. We have to look and see what current flow of money we have right now. So you're facing your full financial picture without flinching, without closing your eyes. You're looking at it. This is a very vulnerable moment. This is a very vulnerable moment. And people, like, you may not realize it watching this video, but when I am working with my clients, the sighs, the tears that form in the well of their eyes, the face change as we go through their budget. So I'll have my client create their budget, and then we'll go through and I'll help them with their budget, because a lot of times you may not realize some of the things that should be in your budget. And so I'll be honest, I'm kind of sneaky. So when we have conversations, you'll be talking to me like, oh yeah, and I get this, and I'm like, oh, you get that every month? You don't know why I'm asking you that, but you're like, yeah, I do this and this. I'm like, oh, is that in your budget? And then they stop talking. They just look at me like, So a lot of times this is a very vulnerable process. It's something that you might forget things that need to go on there, but it's very important that you track everything. So you want to track your income. You want to list out your fixed and flexible expenses. So a fixed expense is going to be something that it's the same amount every day. You have to pay it. You got to pay it. Every month, this bill is going to come and it has to be paid. And especially if the amount is going to be the same. So that looks like your rent or your mortgage, your car note, your insurance. Those bills pretty much stay the same every month, and you have to pay them. Okay? Check those bank statements. Check those credit card statements. Identify what things are all being charged to my credit card. Because if I'm only paying the minimum payment, but I have these bills coming out of this credit card, that's not adding up. So that's why we want to get a clear picture and organize our finances during this process. Let the numbers tell you the story, because they can talk. Numbers talk. People are not the only ones who talk. Numbers talk. And you can't change what you won't confront. It's not punishment. It's power, because you're taking control over your finances. So step 3, now you're going to pick a budgeting style that fits your life. So a lot of people get stuck at this point because they try to force themselves into a budgeting system that doesn't match them, that doesn't match their personality, that doesn't match their schedule, and it doesn't match how they live. And the truth is, there is no one size fits all way to budget. There are options that you have. You get to choose which one works best for you, because you are the CEO of your wallet. So here are a few examples. The 50-30-20 rule. Now, this is based on your needs, wants, and goals. And essentially, you assign a percentage of your money towards one of those categories. So 50% of your income will go to your needs. So let's just say you're getting paid $1,000. So 500 will go towards needs, 300 will go towards wants, and 200 will go towards goals. Now, I want to remind you that this is 2025. this percentage might not work for you. You might have to dedicate 60% to your needs. I'm just keeping it real. Sometimes these numbers might be a little outdated. So you, as being the CEO of your wallet, have the power to change the percentages to fit your lifestyle. See, that's one of the ways that people mess up. They think that they have to stick to 50, 30, 20. We're just giving you guidance. We're giving you templates. We're giving you inspiration because we want to help you learn how to do it and have a better control over your finances. But it's not set in stone to say you have to use these exact numbers. Now, the next one is going to be pay yourself first. This is a budgeting method that basically places your saving as your priority. And then you spend what money is left. And if it's not much money that's left and you don't have enough to pay your bills with what's left, one, it's time to make some executive decisions and see where you can make some cuts. And two, those bills might have to be juggled, but you saving first is creating a nest egg to get professional development so you can increase your income and eliminate this issue. Invest your money. So again, you can create more income and eliminate this issue. If you never put any money to the side to invest in yourself, you're always going to be in that cycle and you're never going to get out of it. I understand that sometimes we're in that lifestyle where we're having to juggle bills, but in reality, you have to put some money to the side for yourself. Now, a third method is called zero-based budgeting. Zero-based budgeting is where every single dollar gets a job. So you choose what feels doable. It's not meant to be perfect, but this plan should fit your lifestyle and your season. So I also want you to remember that life is short, okay? Get the Uber Eats. Yep, I said it. That's actually a whole chapter in my book. And it's important because when you make your budget, you can't just skip out on personal spending. You can't make a budget and don't include anything that you enjoy. You can't. So I made a chapter in my book to talk about how deprivation diets don't work. Deprivation diets it'll make you get discouraged. It makes you feel like you don't see the fruits of any of this labor. It'll make you feel like, well, this sucks. I don't want to keep doing this. So you have to work to eliminate that as by putting personal spending. If you get your hair done, put it in your budget. The problem comes in when sometimes it makes us realize we're spending more money than we're bringing in. It's nice that you have a plan. Even if your money are going to investments and savings, that's fine. But are you saving and investing money that you have? Or are your savings and investments causing you to spend more than you bring in, which is thus causing you to be short on your bills every month? I've seen it. So that's why it's important to take these steps. Now, step 4 is you want to automate your priorities. You want to automate what you can. So once you create your plan is in place because you're identifying your goal, you're identifying where you are. Your budget is what helps you create a plan to bridge that gap. So once you identify that and you want to create a plan that makes it easier for you to stick to it, automation is going to help you stay consistent with that plan, even when life gets chaotic. So you can set up automatic transfers for your savings deposits. You can do some bill auto pays whenever possible. I do caution you with this. If you are not yet at the point where you're very disciplined with your finances, this might be a hindrance instead of a help. So putting your bills on auto pay is kind of like a graduation in your finances, because that means that you know the money's going to be there on that date. And sometimes it takes us some time to get to that point. And just because you put your bills on auto pay do not mean you don't need to check, because sometimes auto pays fail. It's still a computer or a system you are working on, and it's going to make mistakes. Nothing is perfect, not even robots, okay? Also, reminders for debt payments or reoccurring charges. You want to be mindful of where they are coming out. You want to be mindful of what date they're coming out to make sure that you have that money. So it's great to automate your payments and savings and things like that, but you want to be mindful of where those automations are going, what dates they're going, what accounts they're going to, what's in an account, why are they going to that account? Like, these are the questions. You got questions and you got to get some answers for these questions. Okay. Now, let your system be your backup. You know, automating makes it reliable because you're creating discipline. Sometimes we don't have as much discipline when it comes to our finances. Okay. So, like I was talking about, step 5 is going to be budgeting for your real life. Leave space in your plan for real joy, fun, rest, convenience. Too many people will budget themselves into misery. And that's the fastest way that you're going to quit and you're not going to stick to it. If brunch or DoorDash is your self care and this is a part of your life, add it to your plan. If it's something that's costing you a lot and you realize you're spending too much on it, just do it in moderation. Instead of going to brunch every Sunday, now go to brunch twice a month, brunch once a month. Just create times or terms or limits or things like that. But nobody says you have to take it completely out of your budget. Sometimes you might need to do it temporarily just to get yourself on track when you find yourself behind. But add it to your plan. Budgeting, it's not about restricting you. It's about intention. It's about having a conversation with your money and being aware of where it's going and what is it doing and why is it doing it. Because if I didn't tell it to go there, who is over there? Why is it over there? It need to be over here or where I told it to go. Okay? Hopefully that breaks it down for you where we're going with all this. So the step about this is honoring your life while you're still staying in control, because that's something that you're going to be able to sustain. That's something that you'll continue to do further on in life. Okay, step 6, practice, not perfection. Budgeting is not a one-time decision. It's a practice. You'll mess up. You're going to have to make adjustments. You're going to have some good weeks. You're going to have some off weeks. But your budget is a living document, which means that it consistently will change. It consistently will shift as your finances, as your current bills, as your income. You might be in a program and now that program is gone, so now you don't have to pay that bill every month. These are the type of things you want to update in your budget. You incurred a new bill. You got to update your budget. You bought a house. You got to shift what bills are coming out now because you got different bills that might be coming out than you did when you were renting. Your budget is a living document. You should constantly be updating it. That's why you visit it and revisit it and you do money check-ins and all those things. But I do need you to understand that you don't need to get it right every time. You just need to keep showing up consistently. This journey is not about arriving. It's about becoming, and who you become while you're managing your money with care. And you want to manage your money with confidence. So these steps and you getting this and knowing what's going on with your money, it just gives you a sense of confidence that you're like, oh, you don't even realize how much pressure and stress not knowing what's going on with your money might be causing you. And so these steps that we're talking about, these are the steps that build long-term success. Now, the final step, step 7, reinforce these new habits. So a lot of times we talk about the steps, we talk about do this, do that, spend here, save here, blah, 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 because definitely looking at your spending and how you spend money is a huge part of this process. But one of the very big important parts of the process is in step 7, which is reinforcing these new habits that you created. You created a plan for your money. Now you have to make sure that it sticks. And a lot of people, they're like, oh, I started a budget or I created a budget, but I find it hard to stick to it. And I think it's because this is a very crucial step that a lot of us miss. And it's one of the things whenever I do work with my clients, we have to touch on this last. We have to touch on, okay, going forward, what are we going to do? What is our backup plan? What is our plan B? What is our plan C? Because when we don't create a plan B or plan C, sometimes when we fall off, we get lost and we don't know how to start it back up. Okay? We got to get the jumper cables or the AED, like clear. Sometimes you got to do that for your finances, but if you don't create the plan, if you don't have it there, break glass in case of emergency, you don't have an option. So you need something to help you when you fall off, okay? That means that the habits you start to become more aware of. Remember we talked about in step 1, I know it might have been a while ago, but the habits we talked about in step 1 that you start to notice about yourself, your spending habits, where your money goes, where your financial priorities are. Those are the things you got to work on. Where do I need to replace this habit? What habits do I need to start working on changing? And what exactly am I going to do to change them? Okay, because we want to replace them with better habits. We want to replace them with habits that are actively working towards our goal. And then I also need you to build out a plan B. So, what happens when you mess up? What happens when you make a mistake? Or what happens when you completely fall off and you need to get back on track? What is the process that you plan to do that? I need you to know that at this stage in the journey, because building rituals around your money, like, okay, maybe you got regular day that you check in on your money, like you have, it's like self-care Sunday or something, and you check on your money on self-care Sunday. Those weekly check-ins is like you creating your own safety net for when life knocks you off track, because it will. Life will always be life. And so build a bounce back plan now. Okay. Who are you going to call when you're frustrated? Who do you know that is going to motivate you and hold you accountable and not be a bad influence? Yeah, I said it. Did too. I'm sure you already know who this person is too. You know the bad influence. You might have to think about who's going to motivate you, but you know who the bad influence is. What reminders do you need to set to keep you focused? Do you need to set a quarterly check-in reminder in your calendar so that you get reminded? Is that what you need to do? I'm just asking. What's your emergency habit reset routine? So this is where the real change happens, to be honest. When you reinforce those new habits that support the life that you are building and that you want for yourself, that's when the real change happens. Because you have to be, just like you create a savings plan for unexpected expenses, you have to create a bounce back plan. Same concept, same concept. At the end of the day, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. You're not behind. I don't want you to think of it as you're being behind. You're building. We're all building. We're all at different stages, and you're at the stage that you're supposed to be. So it's not about making your budget look perfect and Instagram worthy, or like somebody else's budget that you saw online. This is your money and your finances. So it only can look like yours, and you can make it your own and do what you need to do to help motivate you. I changed the names of my bills, and I changed the name of my accounts to make it fun, because why not? It's my account, it's my money. Why not put something that resonates with me, so when I log into my account, I can see that. Okay? I'm just saying. The goal of this journey is about finally feeling like you got this. Okay? But if you've been feeling stuck, confused, or like nothing you've tried ever works for you, let this be the moment that you try something new, something that fits with your lifestyle. Until next time, keep showing up for yourself and crushing those money goals.